Welcome to episode 42 of Meet the GIMP. My name is Rolf Steinert and I'm recording this in Seefeld, northern Germany, exactly Seefeld in Frisia. And today you are in for this. News from 2.5, some horses, and post-processing of an image I shot yesterday evening here. And now, for the show. The current development version of GIMP is only accessible through a version control system. Everybody can download the stuff, but it's a bit tricky. The developers have shown mercy and have put up a tarball with a snapshot. And I've downloaded this tarball and I'm just compiling it. You see it here in the background. If you are not sure how to do this and what's happening here and how to install extra libraries and so on, well, don't try it. It's not worth the time just for peeking into it. I think I'll show you here everything that is new. I have a correspondent for this, Tobias Jacobs. He is a bit famous here in Germany for getting the GIMP into mainstream media. Perhaps I'll talk about that. You'll find a link in the show notes. And now let's look what difference are between GIMP 2.4.5 and GIMP 2.5.0. This is definitely no stable version, so don't try it for productive work. The toolbox menu has been merged into the image menu. This gap here will be closed, I hope. There's always an image window around. You never have to guess where your images are. I think this design will improve in the future. The rectangle tool has been improved for doing very small selections. Now if you go below a certain size, like Tobias does here, these handles pop to the outside and you can manage the rectangle from the outside. There has been work on the design. The tool windows here are improved and are much clearer and not so cluttered as they have been. The smudge tool has a scaling option for the brush. And you can set opacity of the transform tools, rotation tool and the other ones, and so look through it while rotating. I think that is great. The text tool, text box, gets a workover, and you can change the size and the dimensions of the box and the text changes in it. Giggle, the new promising image library, has been included and can be used in some operations. And you can do giggle operations, if you know what you're doing, from the menu. There are lots of them. Thank you, Tobias, for this glimpse into the development cycle, and I hope there will be a next installment when there's to show something else. You see here my version of GIMP 2.5, and you see also spring has come also to northern Germany. I want to show you one tool that Tobias has missed, and that is the polygon selection tool. It allows you to select a polygon by simply clicking on the edges or corners. That's a corner, an edge is such a line here, I think. Well, okay, you see what I'm doing. When I click on the start, my polygon is selected. Let's just try this. Delete it or cut out. put in again, and now as a floating selection. This is a tool that has been missing for 10 years, and I hope 2.6 will be out soon. The image I wanted to show you hasn't turned out as I wanted it. This was definitely sunset and nothing like this mushy stuff here. So let me try to salvage this a bit. And for that, first I zoom into the image and check if it is rotated. You see here it is definitely. I select the rotate tool without transparency, check if I have corrective backwards enabled, and the grid, click on it and try to get the grid parallel with this chimney stack here. I have to increase the numbers of grid lines here a bit, so now I'm here. I think this should work out. Let's check here. There are other chimneys, and here are wind engines, power plants, and the intro you saw, it's very windy there. It's about 60 kilometers or so away from here. Now I have rotated this, and the next step will be the curves tool. This was way darker. Just click into it, and for getting it darker, first I adjust the black point. This comes into the direction a bit. You see it's starting getting red here, but this has to be redder. And now I just pull the curve down here. This could be it. And perhaps enhance this here a bit. Well, this looks much more as I have seen that there. Okay, this is it. Click on it. And then I've seen two birds in the image, and they are at this big chimney here. Here, these two birds, they are quite distracting. In a previous shot that was not in focus, they were in the foreground, looking really good, but here they are simply not on the right place. So I pick the healing tool. It's a suitable size. This will work, I think. Oh, here, opacity on 100%, and perhaps one step larger. This is okay. Now I select an area where it is similar to the stuff I want to clone out, click on it, and click on the parts of the bird I want to remove. The healing tool is a bit different from the clone tool because it looks at the surroundings and tries to get the pattern or the glued in part to blend in with the surroundings. You use it just the same as the healing tool, as the clone tool, sorry. Just select the spot where you want to clone from with Control and left mouse click, and then paint into the area where you want to paint. So this looks much better. By the way, we have here a lot of tidal activity. Here is the water. I think this is about a kilometer or so, and by high tide the water will be here, and if you are really lucky, the water will be coming here and slowly over the dike or ditch. No idea. The coastal fortifications. So, just now I think I have to crop this. This here on top is not, I don't want to have that in my image. I want to make a panorama out of it. This looks good. This way. So I take out my crop tool, just let it snap to there. Perhaps I should look for my rule of thirds guides. Oh, well. Well, yeah, this looks good. Well, that was it with this image here. I don't think I should sharpen it any further because the camera has done it. It was done with my Exacti point-and-shoot camera, and I don't want to get any more sharpening into it. There's still some time for this show, and that will be covered by Joseph, and he has a nice video about the selective foreground selection tool. Or how is it called?
Hello, my name is Joseph and I'm recording this in the southeastern United States. Today I want to show you a new selection tool that we haven't covered before, and that's called the foreground selection tool. You can see it right here, and you can see when I get into the drawing down here it's going to be instructions on how to use this tool. So the first thing we'll do is draw a rough circle around the object that we're interested in. Next thing we're going to do is mark the foreground by painting in it. And I'm going to try to paint just about every shade of this white flower. As soon as I release the mouse button, you can see it begin to calculate. And there we go. We have a real quick selection. Now I'm going to hold the control key down and use the middle mouse button to zoom in. You also notice that when I hold the control key down that my cursor shows an eraser. So I'm going to let up on it, hold it down, see? Now what I can do here is erase portions that I'm not interested in. And as soon as I release the mouse button again, it will begin calculating once again. And hopefully remove those sections and any others with that same color from our selection. And we've got a little bit here still. And there's a little bit more here, so we must not have removed anything with that color. Now all I have to do is press the enter key and we have a selection of that whole foreground piece, and then from there you can do with it whatever you want to. And there you have a rough introduction to the foreground selection tool. So let's go in a little more detail with this tool. And to begin with, let's talk about how it works. Now, the foreground selection tool uses a special algorithm that's called the CEOX algorithm, and you can find out information about it on ceox.org. There it also tells you what types of images work well in the facts section here. There's algorithm details, and they've also used this algorithm in more than just the GIMP. It's also in Inkscape and other things. So you can see other demo videos of how it works. But let's go over the GIMP implementation of it a little bit more. I've got this picture here, which isn't a great picture for this algorithm because some of the colors in the picture are so closely related that they're not going to do well, but it does make a good picture for showing one of the features of the algorithm. And if you notice, in the other selections we have a lot of the same options available in the foreground selection tool. We can change the mode, we can feather the edges, we can also change the radius of that feathering. Then we have this option for contiguous regions. The select contiguous area, when selected, will only view the face that you're interested in. So let's do a demo of that. Let's select the whole area with all three of the faces, and then we'll make a selection on this face, and with the contiguous selected we should only have this area selected. Let's see. So now let's hit escape and we'll try it again with contiguous unselected. We'll select the same face. And now you can see that the algorithm has picked every similar face tone in our selection. There's also a few other options that you can change, and I believe we'll get another picture to show that because this is a better picture. You can see that we can change marking of the foreground and marking of the background by holding the control key, or you can do it here if you don't want to hold the control key. You can also vary the brush size, and there's an option for smoothing here, which I don't have a good handle on. I think what you really need to do there is experiment with this, especially if you have an image that isn't working well with the algorithm. There's also the view color. We can change that to a different color. Let's try drawing our selection here now. And as far as the default color, right now I have black selected, so we can choose a different foreground color here. There's also the color sensitivity, which is another option that I haven't used a lot. When I did, it seemed to just mess things up. So again, there's more room for experimenting here. But let's go ahead and zoom in here and do a little bit more selecting. We'll see how well this algorithm works for this picture. And as you can see, this picture works really well. And one thing you can do is refine this further, or in some cases when it doesn't do quite so well, you can use the selection that it's got, and you can go into the quick mask and go in here and begin to refine it yourself. and that was a bad example, but you can see how this can easily be used to give you a real quick rough selection, and then you can refine it quickly, and you can tell that it's done a decent job of giving you a good feathered selection there. And with that, I think we're done showing you the foreground selection tool. Thank you for watching. Bye.
And this was it again for this week. If you want to comment or offer your contributions to this show, just write me a note at info@meetthegimp.org. If you want to comment on this show especially, just go to the blog at meetthegimp.org and write your comment there. You don't have to register, just to put your email there, but I'll use that only to contact you if I have a question for following up or so. These mail addresses are not openly visible. So please let me hear something from you and spread the word about Meet the Gimp. I hope to see you around next week with another episode. Goodbye.
Photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the potosphere. Photocastnetwork.com